Hey, what's up, Facebook fam? So, welcome to another Wednesday, Modified Macro Method Facebook Live. Super happy to have you here if you're watching live or even if you're watching the replay. I've really enjoyed doing these over the past few weeks, and I'm excited to continue. The point of these Facebook Lives is to just kind of give you guys some information on how to improve not just your weight loss journey or your muscle building journey, whichever one of those you're on, but just to kind of give you some tips to improve your life overall. Because as we get older, we have to start paying attention to all of the things that are happening in our body, right? So, I'll tell you, when I got into this business of being a fitness coach, it really was all about aesthetics. I wanted abs, I wanted to look good, I wanted people to be attracted to me. And don't get me wrong, those are still important to me, and they are definitely things that are okay to feel about getting into a fitness routine, right? A lot of the motivation that people have when they come to me is they want to see their abs, they want to look good in a bathing suit, they want to feel great when they get naked in the locker room, they want to feel attractive to other people, and that's fine. But I'm getting a little bit older now. I'm 44 years old. I'm going to be 45 this year. Can't believe it. But it's important to start paying attention to the other things that are happening in your body and not just, make it all about going and lifting weights, right? And being in a caloric deficit to lose weight or a caloric excess to gain muscle. So what I'm doing these few weeks, we're doing 6 weeks in a row now, is exploring biofeedback, which basically are just, the cues that your body are giving you that something may need to change or that something is going correctly, right? So there are 6 pieces of biofeedback that I listen to with my clients. And I went over this a little bit last week, but I'm just going to do a quick refresher here in case you didn't get to see last week's Facebook Live. I will actually drop the link to that in the comments when I'm done, so you can go back and see the first letter of the SHREDS acronym, which is sleep. But the biofeedback, there's 6 pieces that we pay attention to, and it is sleep, hunger, recovery, energy, digestion, and stress. So the acronym is SHREDS, and it was actually developed by a man named Sam Miller. I listen to his podcast all the time. I highly recommend going and listen to his podcast. He is an incredibly intelligent individual. I learn a lot from him. I learn a lot from a lot of other people as well. But, I've really been digging into SHREDS and biofeedback lately because as a fitness coach, it's really important for me to pay attention to all of the things that are happening inside and outside of our clients' bodies. And I will tell you, when I started this 17 years ago, it really was just, got to get you into a caloric deficit and make sure you're lifting weights or make sure you're working out, right? Then maybe we added, make sure you're getting enough steps every day. And then it has evolved over time to realize that there's all these other pieces of your fitness journey that are very important, and everything is interconnected, right? So as an example, if you're not losing weight, although you've been in a caloric deficit or you hit a plateau when you're doing a muscle building program, then there could be other things that are going on in your body that might not be aligned with what you're trying to achieve, right? And these can be indicators of not only, your ability to lose weight or to gain weight, whatever you're going for, but also your overall health, right? So these are cues and indicators that we want to listen to make sure that our body is functioning properly. And if it's not, if these cues are telling us that something needs to change, understanding how to change the things that will improve your biofeedback markers is super, super important to your overall health. So as I said, we're going to go through one of these every week for 6 weeks. It's the SHREDS acronym. We did S last week, so that was sleep. And this week, we're going to talk about hunger. So, today I want to talk about what affects hunger, kind of understanding the role of hunger cues in maintaining a balanced diet and supporting your fitness goals. And then we're going to explore the importance of distinguishing between physical hunger and emotional hunger for better nutritional choices, but again, overall just well-being. And then we're going to talk about, ways that we can manage our hunger so that we can improve this piece of the biofeedback equation so that it can help us in whatever our goals are and make us healthier all around. So first, let's talk about an overview of hunger. So what affects hunger? Well, there are certain things that are pretty obvious, right? Like if you've eaten enough, right? If you've got enough fiber in your diet, if you're having enough protein, And then some of the ones that may be less obvious are food timing. Okay, are you eating small meals throughout the day so that you don't get into these, big valleys of hunger where you go and binge and purge? Are you getting enough sleep? Hydration is a big one that affects your hunger levels, and then also emotions, right? Our emotions, I'm sure a lot of you can relate to, are huge factors on the choices we make when we are eating, right? I know for me, if my emotions are running high, I want to run to chocolate and sugar, and I'm sure that's pretty similar for a lot of you. Other people run to carbohydrates like salty foods, right? Other people run to higher fat items. The decision making that we have when we're emotional, it's not easy to control. So we're going to talk today about the differences between physical hunger and emotional hunger. So physical hunger is really the body's natural signal that it's indicating the need for nourishment and energy. This manifests in your stomach, kind of like as a growling feeling or a feeling of emptiness, and you'll get a gradual increase in hunger over time. So that's generally an indication that you actually have physical hunger and you need to give yourself nourishment. You need to eat. But then we have emotional hunger, which again, I'm sure a lot of us can relate to. With emotional hunger, on the other hand, it's often triggered by emotions: stress, which is a really big one; boredom. I know that I have eaten because I was bored so many times in my life. Sadness, loneliness, and you know, rather than having a physiological need for food, these emotions are causing us to eat more or eat things that we normally wouldn't eat to achieve our goals. These tend to really arise suddenly, and it's often associated with specific cravings for comfort foods, like I said before, that are high in fat, sugar, or salt. Some of us reach for potato chips, others reach for a Snickers bar, right? We all have different things that satisfy that emotional hunger. But recognizing whether it's a physical or an emotional hunger is really going to help you figure out how you can manage that hunger cue better. So let's talk about cues. Good segue. We want to listen to our body's cues. All right, so just being aware, developing a mindset or a mindfulness, around hunger cues involves tuning into all these subtle signals from the body and recognizing the difference between physical and emotional hunger. All right, so paying attention to these hunger cues before and after meals can help gauge hunger levels accurately, and you can make more informed decisions about when and what to eat to satisfy your genuine, nutritional needs. All right. So identifying those cues and deciding, well, is this a physical hunger cue or an emotional hunger cue, is really going to help you figure out, how should I handle this? All right. What direction should I take? So I said I was going to keep these short. I want to make sure that I stick to my promise, because I want to make these as digestible as possible for you, so the opportunity to watch the whole thing even more than once and get everything that you can out of it. So let's go into how to manage your hunger, okay? So the first thing is to increase your protein and fiber intake. So you want to aim for meals that prioritize protein and are fiber rich in foods like vegetables and fruit and even whole grains. But keep this in mind. Protein is actually the most satiating macronutrient by volume. So this is the one where if you're going to eat a little bit more of something, I would highly recommend eating a little bit more protein, okay? Protein also has less of a chance of being turned into fat than fats or carbohydrates. I'm not saying that you won't get transition into fat from eating too much protein. Obviously, if we overeat anything, it may take us out of our caloric deficit. We won't be losing weight anymore, but they don't. The proteins do not as easily turn into fat as the fat and the carbohydrates that we're putting into our body. So the one thing you want to watch out for here is the fiber. Some people have a bit of a different digestive tolerance for fiber, like vegetables, and it can really vary from person to person. So if you're somebody that does not tolerate eating tons of vegetables, whether they be raw or cooked vegetables, or other fibers, then you may be someone who might want to lean a little bit more into eating a little extra protein in your diet. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you should cut vegetables out completely. That's absolutely not what you should do. Vegetables are a very important part of your diet, but some of us with a lower tolerance for that stuff may need to make that a smaller part of our diet and, increase those protein levels to keep ourselves full. We talked about hydration as well. So staying adequately hydrated It's really essential for maintaining your bodily functions, and it can really help you regulate your appetite. So drinking water, it's not enough, okay? You want to make sure that you're also drinking, consuming electrolytes as well. These electrolytes help you absorb the water into your body. So if you're just chugging a ton of water and you're not getting any electrolytes, a lot of the times, you're not making full use of all that water that you're putting in. It's not hydrating you. Here's a great example, okay? Who gets up in the middle of the night to pee? I know that that's been happening to me a lot at certain times in my life. And one thing that you can do is make sure that you are drinking enough electrolytes so that your body is actually absorbing the water you're giving it. And then you should be able to stay asleep because you're not waking up to pee because the water is running right through you. Little side note there, right? But, just to kind of finish up on the water thing, if you're getting enough water and electrolytes throughout the day, it can really help curb false hunger cues, and it can prevent hydration as well. Dehydration, excuse me. So meal timing, this is a good one. So establishing regular meal times and spacing meals evenly throughout the day, it can regulate your hunger hormones. So you want to aim to eat 5 to 6 times a day to maintain energy levels and prevent blood sugar spikes without feeling overly hungry or deprived. Now, if you're somebody that's only eating 2 meals a day, don't freak out. Oh my God, I have to start eating 5 meals a day right now. Take it one step at a time. With any change you make in your life, you want it to develop into a habit. And habits are developed slowly and in small steps. So if you take small steps towards maybe having a snack in the middle of the day to make it the third time you eat, or maybe eating, a couple eggs for breakfast because it's not something that you're used to, you're going to eventually get into the habit of doing that. And when you do, then you can maybe add another small stack in the middle of the afternoon. It doesn't have to be big because eventually your ability to tolerate the extra meals is going to grow, and it's going to level out your blood sugar, it's going to level out your hunger cues, and you're not going to feel overly hungry and deprived. This one I have a hard time with: slowing down. If you practice mindful eating and slow down and chew your food, studies have actually shown that participants who eat slower versus participants who eat faster tend to be less hungry after their meals. So let's just say you finish your meal in 6 minutes as opposed to 26 minutes, right? The people who finish their meal in 6 minutes tend to be hungrier a lot faster than the people who took a little bit longer to eat their food. So what you're doing when you eat slowly is suppressing the hunger hormone ghrelin, which stimulates hunger and promotes fat storage. Okay? 2 things that we want to avoid when we're on our fat loss journey. I got 2 more and then I'm done with you guys today. So tracking your hunger is another way. I was listening actually to a lesson from Sam Miller, and he put some of these great ideas into my head, and this is one that really stuck with me because it's not one that we think about too much, right? When I say tracking your food, I'm not talking about just entering your calories into MyFitnessPal or whatever food tracker that you're using to make sure that you're in a deficit, or like I said, if you're building muscle, you're in a caloric excess. But we're talking about how you felt after you ate, okay? How did you handle your hunger after specific meals? Keeping a little log will help you determine which meals made you full and which meals didn't. And then if you have this information on hand, you can start to kind of steer yourself in the direction of eating more meals that were similar to the ones that you weren't hungry afterwards, right? Chances are they were probably higher in protein. And what's the magic word? Fiber. Okay? So, we got one more that I want to talk about. And this really just kind of brings everything together. The entire series that I'm doing right now, the Shred series, everything's interconnected, okay? They all affect one another. Your body is a functioning unit, and everything you do has some sort of relationship to everything else. Like even if you're doing a bicep curl, there's other things that are involved, right? I know it's a single joint movement. We're like, oh, I'm only using my bicep, but you've got stabilizer muscles and all sorts of things that are going into helping you achieve that lift, right? It's the same thing with the Shreds model. Everything is connected. The sleep is connected to the hunger, is connected to the energy, is connected to the digestion, etc., right? So just think about the fact that these all affect each other, so that when we're stressed or we lack sleep especially, it can affect our decision-making process, and it can lead to unhealthy choices. So managing all aspects of your biofeedback markers is going to have an all-around positive effect on your ability to lose weight and to be able to learn the habits you need to make this journey that you're on a lifelong success. All right. So that's what I got for you today. Thank you guys for listening. If you're listening now and you want to drop a message in the comments and let us know what you thought, I'm going to take a read on those afterwards. I am going to drop a link to the previous one that we did last week, which was sleep. And then tune back in for the next 4 weeks because we're going to finish out the Shreds acronym 1 week at a time. And then I am also uploading all of these to my YouTube page. So I will actually drop that link below as well. So you guys have easy access to all of these, but just know that there are going to be in the group as well. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. I'm really passionate about this stuff and I really care. And as much as I love training clients in my online coaching program, I want to give as much information as possible so that if you guys are on this journey on your own, that you have the information you need to be successful. All right. So good luck with everything, guys. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that this is helping. And we're going to do this every week at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So hope to see you next week, and comment down below if there's anything that you want us to talk about on these Facebook Lives. I plan to have another guest coming on very soon, a good friend of mine who's an incredible yoga instructor. So stay tuned, and as Rachel Maddow would say, watch this space.